Have you ever heard the word jump? I mean, you're going about your day, things are normal and well, but you keep hearing jump. Even in my 20s, I kept hearing the words jump. Now, at the time, I didn't know what they meant, but I will say this. In May 2020, I jumped and I survived. Now, before I tell you all of that story, let me tell you a little bit. I'm gonna ask you a question. Have you ever skydived, skydove, skydiving? I don't know. Have you ever jumped out of a plane? Okay, well, listen, I won't. My biggest fear, although most Americans' biggest fear really is public speaking, well, I'm doing that, okay. So mine is really jumping out of a plane because I don't see the purpose in jumping out of a perfectly good plane. I mean, it's not bothering anybody. My goal is to get from point A to point B. Why on earth would I jump out of a plane? As a matter of fact, I'm like that one percenter. You know, the person that gets on the plane and sits down and listens to the flight attendant? When she says, these are my exit rows, when she talks about my seat can be used as a flotation device, when she tells me that I put my mask on first, and you all know the rest, then you put the mask on for other people in the event of cabin pressure. I even listen when she tells me to make sure that my seat belt and my chair is in an upright and locked position. I'm that one percenter. I call myself a safety sergeant, a comfort queen. Because the truth is, spontaneity, way too overrated. Even Eleanor Roosevelt says that you should do something scary every day, but who wants to do that? I truly believe in order and structure. But in May 2020, my entire life went upside down. And see, in May 2020, I was an executive for a company with $600 million in assets. I had beautiful 6-year-old twin daughters. We were living the great life, and then I lost my job. In the middle of the pandemic, I lost my job. And I know for some of you, it's like, oh, we've all experienced that. But for me, this was the first time that I was out of my comfort zone. But each day I kept hearing, jump, jump. And no matter what I did, no matter how many job applications I put in, I kept hearing the words, jump. And now I realize, and I'll tell you, that jump was not about ending my life. It wasn't about trying to do something harmful to myself. It was about courage. It was about taking a step in a way that I never expected before. So in May 2020, I jumped. Now, I told you I was a safety sergeant and the comfort queen. So I'll tell you, when I was 40, a little over right now, but when I was 40, I decided I wanted to jump out of a plane. But the safety sergeant that I am, I did the research to make sure I understood how to jump out of a plane. So there are 5 things you need to jump out of a plane, and those were the same 5 things that I used to start my business. So the first thing you need to jump out of a plane is a helmet. That makes perfect sense, right? I mean, because a helmet's going to protect your head in the event of a collision. In the event of damage, that's the purpose of a helmet. So for my business, I had a helmet. And that was job applications, because just in case this thing didn't go well, I could keep going back to work. So I had my helmet. The next thing you need when you're jumping out of a plane, it's called an altimeter. The altimeter is what you use when you're ready to engage your parachute. So it measures the altitude where you are, and then it lets the parachute know that it's safe to release. So my altimeter was my business plan. I wrote everything down. Everything that I needed to start this business, I had it. And then the next thing you need is an activation device. That's pretty simple, because the activation device actually lodges the parachute. So my activation device, when I was ready to start this business, was truly my target market and my client list, because everybody needs a target market and client list. So I started with that. And then you need goggles. Not glasses like these, but goggles, because goggles protect your eyes as you're descending. So that was pretty simple, because I had vision. Had vision for my business. I wrote it on the wall. I had a vision board. I had all those beautiful things. And now all I needed was a parachute. That's the last part of anything that you're doing to jump out of a plane. Now, I told you I was afraid, but easy, right? The parachute's going to go all of a sudden, boom, I'm going to be soaring. And my parachute was launching my business. I had a website. I had business cards. I had all the things that you need. I even had clients. I put all the pieces together. I even had a virtual launch party. I was excited about launching this business. So here I go. May 2020, I am ready to go. Standing at the edge of the plane, keep hearing, jump, jump. I'm like, okay, I'm jumping. No, I'm not jumping, I'm not jumping, I'm not jumping. I was afraid to jump. I didn't have the courage. I had all the pieces in place, but I was nervous about jumping. I wasn't courageous. I wasn't ready. As a matter of fact, I waited 4 whole months to jump. But October 31st, 2020, I actually jumped. Goggles, helmet, altimeter, activation device. Here I go. I jumped out of the plane, and man, was it exhilarating. So now I'm jumping. Business off the ground. Things going well. Uh-oh. Parachute didn't launch. No clients, no calls. Uh-oh. And at that moment, I said to myself, Joy, this is the worst thing you could do for yourself. You are out here all by yourself, all on your own. What on earth are you thinking? And just at the moment that I decided that I was about to give up, my parachute engaged. You see, what I realized was I was never jumping alone. The entire time that I was jumping, I had the best instructor with me. God was with me, and the jump that he had been saying to me was about the ability to jump so that I could truly do the work that I was called to do. I had to jump. I had to take these moments. And although my parachute was not ready to engage, it engaged at the perfect time because the greatest instructor was inviting me to a tandem skydive. I wasn't jumping alone. I had family, I had friends, I had everyone around me. They were just waiting on me to take the first step. So here I stand now, a survivor with courage, with grace, with poise. And all I had to do was jump. That's it.